Yesterday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a gentleman named Mike Sowell, who is probably best described as formerly the sports editor of the Tulsa Tribune, said in the paper, Xavier is not a good team. Besides, the team is named the Musketeers or the Musketeers. We forget which. The Tribune is going on record as predicting Oral Roberts will defeat Xavier tonight and advance to tournament semifinals. In fact, we are so confident of this, we have already reserved space at the press table for the semifinals and the finals. That bit of information was read to the Xavier Musketeers last night prior to their game against aforementioned Oral Roberts University. The net result, Anthony Hicks 27 points and a 74-71 shocker. And Tulsa, I repeat, is now running one ads for a sports editor for the Tulsa Tribune. The coach of the Xavier Musketeers, I'm sure, is still hanging on cloud nine after finishing the regular season in the Midwestern City Conference at 1-11, is Mr. Bob Staak. Coach, congratulations.
Thanks, Bob. I've come down now, but it was really a great win for us.
And, Bob, I want to publicly apologize for not making connections with you during the season. We tried a couple of times, and with you out recruiting and then things we had on the air, we could not make connections. And we didn't mean to overlook Xavier when they had a tough season. We're not trying to shelve you at all. It's just last night had to be one of the highlights of your career to go along with the winning the MCC tournament last season.
Well, it certainly was, and I can perfectly understand your situation. I was out of town quite a bit myself, Bob, and out of town quite a bit primarily because we were struggling a little bit, and I didn't want to have talk to anybody.
You're a man to admit it, Stack. Bob, have you ever been able to judge the performance of your basketball team in the locker room prior to the game? I understand that you used that story that was written in the Tulsa Tribune yesterday prior to the basketball game. Did you have any idea your team was going to go out there and play in the manner in which they did?
Well, what we did, Bob, I had lunch yesterday afternoon with Ken Trickey, the former coach at Oklahoma City. He was a good friend of mine, and he's the one that pointed the article out to me. And we took the article to our training meal. And normally our players by nature are kind of light in the training meal and joke a little bit and go back and forth with one another. And we let each one of them read it prior to the meal, and it was an extremely quiet training meal. And I was not at it, but I got onto the bus prior to the game on the way over to the Mabee Center, and I have never been in a bus that was quieter before a game. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. And just to kind of get a read from some of the players, they were extremely up for the game, and really, I think from a respect standpoint, wanted to go out and show some people that, despite our unfortunate season and the record that we have, we're a better basketball team than the people here were giving us credit for. And they certainly played well. It was probably the best 40 minutes of basketball that we had played, and it was kind of reminiscent of the good times we had last year towards the end of the league season, where when we had to make the big play at key opportunities and key situations, we did that and totally, I think, control the game and execute our game plan to perfection.
Did you coach more last night or less last night, knowing the attitude of the players prior to the game?
Well, I'm really into the games, and I'm very active on the bench, and I'm always trying to make adjustments as to what's happening on the floor. So I don't think that really changed me, but I really was upset with the article that was written. And as a matter of fact, it seems like we're the one that this guy seems to pick on every year. We came down here my first year and played a very good Oral Roberts basketball team that won our conference tournament championship that year. They had a fellow by the name of Calvin Garrett that is playing for the Houston Rockets now, and we had a scouting report on him. We saw them play personally, and we knew the key was to stop him, and we just did not have a great deal of success. And this joker said in the newspaper the next day that that we should scout. How can you let him score like that? And it just, I still have that article in my folder on Oral Roberts. I get you off.
Have you since last night, Bob, talked to this, as I stated earlier, former sports editor of the Tulsa Tribune? Has he had the guts to make a phone call to you?
Well, he was around last night, did not talk with me, and the athletic director of Oral Roberts pointed him out to me, and I had a few choice remarks to him, and he kind of retracted his statement, and he called us a great team today. So.
Oh, is that right?
What a difference a day makes.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm the jerk because obviously we have such great players that I must have screwed them up 19 times.
You can't trust us people in the media.
No, you can't.
You just can't trust us. You take on Loyola tomorrow evening.
Yes.
Do you have any idea if you can you sense that intensity may carry over?
Well, I'll tell you, I was kind of, coming off such a great win as it was last night, I was a little bit concerned coming into practice today. And we usually, after we tape, we let them free shoot and spot shoot a little bit before we get into our stretching and our pre-practice warm-up. And they seemed a little bit flat and a little bit, I don't know if it was tired or emotionally spent, but we got into what we call a dribble drive, and everybody was dunking the ball, and I mean, they were really emotionally, and we had one of our most intense practices today, and I was really pleased. And I think our players are really mentally prepared to take each game one at a time now. And I think if we can play the way we played last night, I'm not sure we can, but if we can or come close to it, I think we have a good shot to beat anybody in this tournament.
And would you not agree, Bob, that victory last night will erase a lot of the bad feeling that your players may have had, or a lack of self-confidence that you seem to collect in a losing season, and the slate was wiped clean last night? You can start over fresh.
Well, I think so, and the way we approach it after some disappointing losses, going to Detroit, losing by 4 in overtime, losing to Loyola at home by 2, and then going to this trip last time, we lost to Oklahoma City by 3. And really, I mean, in those games, I don't think could have won. I think in some of them should have won. We just, as I said, didn't make the big play at the right time. And then Oral Roberts beat us handily here. We came back and kind of approached the Central State game, which was kind of a difficult one. The game prior to the tournament, we just said we can't do anything about what's taken place before. Let's take the Central State game as a one-game regular season, try to get some momentum going into it. And although we struggled, I thought we played well when we had to, and we won the game. And I thought that kind of started the building of the confidence that we needed to go into the tournament. Certainly it carried over into the Oral Roberts game. I think that that article kind of put us over the hump from an emotional standpoint.
Well, have you found any articles possibly written in the Chicago Tribune about the Musketeers that you can use on your team for tomorrow night against Loyola?
Well, Wayne Morgan, my assistant, he got a hold of that ex-sports editor, I should say. Asked him if he'd do us a favor and write another article before hang with us.
Yeah, he at least owes you that.
Yes.
Bob, one comment on your basketball team. I am absolutely amazed that throughout the entire season, even though you've had trouble winning, no team that I can remember has really stopped Anthony Hicks. Is he that good? Or do you design the offense around him? Or are they still not believers in the ability of Anthony Hicks?
Well, I think that it's not by design that Tony is our leading scorer or what have you, but certainly he's, I think, our most talented player. And I think that the reason he scored and shot more this year was because of the injury problems, and he had to pick up a great deal of the slack. We've had some inconsistent play with our front line, and he had to shoulder the burden quite a bit. But the one game that he really didn't play well, and probably was his worst game of his career, although he was 1 for 11 and 0 for 12 against Marquette twice.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that game.
3 for 20 against Oral Roberts down here, and just was kind of an embarrassment. And I think from Tony's standpoint, personally, was kind of glad we were coming back to Tulsa to kind of redeem himself. And he played an outstanding game. He was 10 for 17 from the floor for 27 points and 7 for 8 from the line. Made 2 foul shots with 3 seconds to play to kind of ice the game, and also dished out 7 assists. So he made one big steal when we were up 1, and they had a chance to go ahead. And he made a steal, went down late, and put us up 3, and we never lost the lead again.
Well, congratulations. If nothing else, that's going to make you happy for the next several hours, I would suppose, until you take on Loyola. It was a shocker and well-deserved, finally.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. It's a real tribute to our kids because, through all the adversity that we've had, the injury problems, the lack of continuity in our lineup because of those injuries, and really some tough losses where we were in a position to win in several games and just couldn't get it out. They've hung tough, and we've really had very few down moments in practice, and they've really kept themselves on an emotional high, and I think that's kind of weathered the storm for us. And we're really glad that we don't even think about 8 and 19 anymore. We just think about Loyola tomorrow, and if we can get by that one, go to the winner of the Oklahoma City-Evansville game, and who knows, maybe playing someplace later on. But we're not thinking about that right now. It's just one game at a time.
That's, I believe, the best approach to take. You understand, of course, now here in Cincinnati, we are expecting an upset tomorrow night.
Well, sometimes you spoil people and they expect a lot.
You're right. You're right. That's the way it always happens. Thanks, Bob. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking with you, Bob. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bob Staak, head coach at Xavier University. The Musketeers tomorrow night take on Loyola of Chicago.